What if I told you that one of the most powerful engines in Ford's history was banned before it ever got the chance to unleash its full fury on the racetrack? An engine so advanced, so far ahead of its time, that it not only scared the competition, it scared NASCAR itself. This is not just another story about horsepower or engineering. This is about the Ford 427 SOHC Cammer, a machine that was born in secrecy, whispered about in racing garages, and remembered as both a masterpiece and a tragedy. Its legend still lingers like smoke from a burnout, visible for a moment, then gone before most people even realized what they had witnessed. From the very beginning, the Cammer wasn't designed to be ordinary. It was Ford's desperate order to Chrysler's dominant HEMI, and a weapon forged in the heat of one of racing's greatest rivalries. At over 600 horsepower in stock trim and capable of climbing much higher with tuning, this wasn't just an engine, it was Ford's declaration of war. But the problem wasn't what the Cammer couldn't do. The problem was what it could do. Dominate NASCAR so completely that competitors cried foul before the first flag even dropped. For car enthusiasts and mechanics who caught glimpses of the Cammer in action, the experience was unforgettable. Mechanics described the sound as something otherworldly, raw, thunderous, like the future had arrived too soon. Drivers who tested it admitted in hushed tones that it felt unstoppable, a mechanical beast caged only by the rules of politics. And yet, just as quickly as it appeared, it was gone. NASCAR officials moved swiftly, and whispers of unfair advantage and corporate fear began to spread. To the passionate car lover, the Cammer came to symbolize more than just horsepower. It was a symbolized rebellion and the painful reality that sometimes the greatest engines in history are not silenced by mechanical limits, but by human decision. Ford didn't lose the battle because their engine failed. They lost because their engine succeeded too well. And that irony is what still burns in the hearts of collectors and enthusiasts who see the Cammer as both a masterpiece and a lost opportunity. And so, we're left with the mystery, the question that keeps the legend alive decades later. Why was the Cammer truly banned? Ford's 427 SOHC Cammer engine wasn't just another V8. It was a monster designed to crush the competition. Built in the mid-1960s, this powerhouse was developed to dominate NASCAR tracks and embarrass Chevrolet's big block designs. With its single overhead camshaft design, hemispherical combustion chambers, and a monstrous output of nearly 600 horsepower in stock form and over 700 plus horsepower with tuning, the Cammer was years ahead of its time. From the moment it hit the tracks, whispers spread like wildfire. Early tests showed it tearing past rivals, setting performance benchmarks that no other engine could touch. Racers who got their hands on the Cammer described it as unstoppable, a weapon disguised as an engine. Ford had given birth to something that wasn't just powerful, but dangerous to its competitors' survival. But this rise in dominance came with shadows of secrecy. NASCAR officials quickly grew nervous. The sheer performance of the Cammer made them fear it would destroy competition entirely, turning races into predictable one-sided victories. Behind closed doors, rival brands, especially Chevrolet, began lobbying against Ford, claiming the engine gave an unfair advantage. The corporate battlefield had shifted from racetracks to boardrooms. Executives, fearful of losing control and profits, leaned on politics rather than performance. NASCAR, under pressure, began to reconsider whether such an engine should even be allowed. Betrayal seeped into Ford's victory lap before it had even begun. The Cammer, once celebrated as a marvel of engineering, was suddenly being painted as a threat to the very integrity of racing. And here lies the shocking twist. Instead of letting the best machine win, forces were already moving to suppress the 427 Cammer. But the question is, what drastic measures did NASCAR and Chevrolet take to kill Ford's greatest weapon before it truly conquered the sport? The downfall of Ford's legendary 427 Cammer wasn't simply the result of technicalities in a rule book. It was a carefully orchestrated power play filled with politics, fear, and hidden agendas. At its core, the Cammer was too good, too powerful, and too far ahead of its time. NASCAR, the stage where legends are born, quickly became the battlefield where rival manufacturers, especially Chevrolet, used influence and pressure to ensure Ford's golden weapon never reached its full potential. When the Camry engine roared to life in 1964, it instantly rewrote the rules of competition. Drivers who got behind the wheel described it as a monster, raw power that could outrun and outlast anything Chevrolet or Chrysler had in their arsenal. But instead of embracing this innovation, NASCAR officials stepped in and declared it unfair. This wasn't just about maintaining balance, it was about protecting certain interests. Insiders whispered that Chevrolet's executives were lobbying hard behind closed doors, claiming that the Camry was too advanced and too dangerous for fair competition. In truth, they feared that Ford had created an unstoppable machine. For the engineers at Ford, the ban was nothing short of heartbreak. Years of sleepless nights, endless testing, and groundbreaking ideas were suddenly thrown into the shadows. Many of them recalled how their detailed designs and data were quietly shelved, locked away in filing cabinets, never to be revisited. Some even suggested that technical blueprints mysteriously disappeared, as if someone wanted to erase any trace of what the Camry could have been. To the outside world, the story was simple. NASCAR made a decision, and the 427 was gone. But inside the garages and boardrooms, the whispers painted a darker picture of sabotage, betrayal, and a calculated effort to silence Ford's dominance. Drivers who had tasted the Camry's raw speed were devastated. For them, it wasn't about engineering pride, it was about victory. They had felt what it meant to have unmatched horsepower at their disposal, only to see it stripped away by politics. Many racers openly admitted that their dreams of championships vanished overnight, not because they lacked skill, but because the engine that gave them an edge was locked out of the competition. In the end, the banning of the 427 Camry wasn't just a technical ruling, it was a betrayal of innovation, a denial of fair competition, and a reminder of how fear at the top can crush dreams at the bottom. For racing fans, it left a bitter taste, as if a chapter of greatness had been torn out of history. And yet, the legend of the Camry refuses to die. Every whisper, every rumor, every hidden engine block fuels the belief that maybe, just maybe, the beast is still out there, waiting for its moment to roar again. The Ford 427 Camry may have been banned from NASCAR, buried under politics and the fear of competition, but its spirit never faded away. What was once seen as a dangerous advantage slowly transformed into one of the most coveted legends in automotive history. Collectors, restorers, and racing purists hold on to the Camry like a forbidden treasure, proof that innovation can be silenced but never destroyed. Today, finding a 427 Camry is like discovering a piece of outlaw history, rare, priceless, and dripping with the aura of rebellion. The emotional truth behind this engine is that Ford didn't just build horsepower, they built a cultural icon. Every car enthusiast who sees a Camry roar back to life knows that the story didn't end in the 1960s. It merely shifted into another gear. The engine's refusal to die gave it immortality, and every drag strip or secret garage where it breathes again becomes a stage of vindication for the engineers who dared to challenge the rules. The 427 Camry's survival is more than nostalgia, it's empowerment. It represents the freedom to innovate, the courage to break limits, and the determination to keep racing alive even when the system tries to shut it down. Decades later, this banned engine continues to fuel modern performance builds and inspire tuners worldwide, proving that true power can never really be erased. In the end, the shocking truth isn't just that the Ford 427 Camry was banned, it's that banning it only made it stronger. Its legend outgrew the tracks it was denied. Whether seen as redemption for Ford's visionaries or a permanent reminder of what NASCAR tried to bury, one fact remains clear. The 427 Camry is not just an engine, it is history, rebellion, and legacy, all out to firing together, in the hearts of car enthusiasts who know it will never truly die.